Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light. While we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing just you and me. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, we're chasing snowflakes as they're falling down, and follow Rudolph all across the town. Later we meet under the mistletoe, while Santa's busy saying ho ho ho. We're feeling jolly, eating Christmas cake, and then we go skating on the frozen lake, saying hi to every friendly face, and later we warm up by the fireplace. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Merry Christmas Day. A Merry Christmas Day.
Good evening, everyone. You thought we were done for the year. Well, so did we, but turns out some of these teams are cutting their holiday break a little short. So we're closing the year out with our first two ever matches for the BPL, the brand new BPL Winter Snowdown. I'm your host, Jimmy, and with me on the desk here I have Jace and Captain Jack, who's making his BPL casting debut. How's it going?
It's going good. Glad to be here. I also thought last week was my last cast of the 2021 season, but here I am, dragged back to the mic as always. How about you, Jace?
I'm not doing too bad. I thought I was going to be consumed by the COVID to end of the year, but negative test this morning. Let's get it. And I'm doing what anyone else would do when they test negative, which is casting Overwatch. Let's get into it. I believe you've got some details about this new format, this new Winter Slowdown to share for us, Jimmy. So let's hear it.
Since this is like the first broadcast, I guess just like a little bit of a primer on what this actually is, because it's a little bit different than what we usually do here in BPL. I mean, we just finished Season 3, which was like a draft league. This actually is a pre-made tournament, so no draft. So that means all these teams kind of form them on their own. So we have a lot of like friend groups who are playing together, which is usually what these people wanted in the first place. That's why we're doing this as like a testing ground to see if it's like successful. How this works is we split all these teams into 3 different divisions. So we have an S, A, and B league, with S being the highest with 4.2k average SR. All these teams play each other in their own division in a round-robin format. The cool thing here is though that we have a kind of free scheduling format, so no set times. That means all these teams have time until like around end of February to finish their games. As you can see here, like don't take these dates at face value. That's just the default date we have. Like technically all these teams can play whenever they want. They just have to finish by, I believe it is like January 18th. So all these teams have to play each other at least once, then we have a final standing, and that will determine our playoff bracket. We're going to have playoffs, I believe, until like mid-February, and we're going to crown a champion in all of 3 divisions.
Interesting. That's a very unique setup for sure. Definitely not something that I've seen done before, but hopefully it should work out very well, especially if this is something that the teams have been wanting.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of players pushed for a pre-made because as good as the draft system can be, and you can make great friends through the draft system, I think a lot of teams, particularly in B League, sort of formed quite close-knit friendship groups. A lot of these teams that are in our A and B League for this tournament are bonds of teams from B League for BPL Season 3. So you can make friends, but on the other side, if your experience sucked, I'm just not going to call out teams from A-League last year, but we all know who they were. Some of those teams in A-League and B-League were not the best. And for those people, if you get drafted onto a team that you don't like and it just doesn't work out, then it's a painful couple of months, that's for sure.
Hey, and for some of these players, definitely it's going to be an opportunity to maybe redeem themselves. We actually have a couple of them on some of these teams here. We can talk about that in a second. But sorry, I was just corrected, by the way. It's not quite round robin. It's only 6 games because we have so many signups. We have, I believe, 12 teams in A-League alone. So they're not quite going to play each other. All of each other, but it's still going to be a good number of games to kind of determine our playoffs. So yeah, our first game, as you can see the rosters here, it's going to be Polarity versus Sherbert, I believe. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's going to be our first A-League game tonight. Yeah, Jace, talk to me a little bit about these two teams.
So I had a quick scan, but instantly anyone that's familiar with BPL will know names that stand out both A and B League. The narrative that I'm sort of going to have to set going in tonight is how can these notable players from Sherbert stand up? Because if you look at Polarity, they've got players from A-League. Yes, they've got Superb and I believe Alter were both a duo on Galaxy, which they mentally broke down.
I meant, by the way, when I said like maybe chance for redemption. Galaxy,
exactly.
The less said about that, the better.
Yeah, but Polarity have got like Gavin, Clap, and Clockwise, who were stars on Cowabunga. That team peaked just at the right time for playoffs. And Sherbert, for them, yes, they have players. They've got Bean Cannon Sty. That's a tank synergy coming over from the 3rd place 7-piece from B League. So it's going to have to be a step up. Let's see how they do. Gavin versus Sty is going to be a great main tank matchup all night. Gavin is finally playing main tank, by the way. Didn't mention that, but there's just some quick thoughts on Busan. What do you think, Jimmy? Obviously, you do predictions, but talk to me about Busan just for a second or two.
It's going to be a cool map. I just want to say, just really quickly, maybe something that people can look at. I was told by some other A-League players that maybe C on the side of Polarity is apparently a really, really good Doomfist player, so maybe we're going to see some 6-man with them. I'm going to be interested in that. But yeah, we can do Pretzel quick as we head in here. I'm going to say, you know what? Also, it's first to free. I should also mention that. Also different from how we usually do things. You know what? I'm going to say Polarity 3-1. How about you guys?
Polarity 3-0 for me, unless I see something from Sherbert. Okay. But just on paper, Polarity 3-0.
See, I'm always for the underdog, and since I don't know any of these teams, I'm going to have to make it a close 3-2, whichever way the cards end up falling. But let's go ahead and get into this first match. Here on Busan, we're going to be heading into the Shrine to go ahead and get things started.
Yeah, we are. It's just a pretty much rollout. Polarity come out on kind of a bunch of compositions. Sherbert pretty much mirror, so it's going to be a Brig versus a Zen. So, I mean, just in the neutral fight, Captain Jack, it looks like Alter's just going to be able to sit in the backline and spam out with Polarity and the rest of the team. Oh, great first pick.
That's true. Already Alter with the first elimination, getting the Baptiste out on Sherbert's side. He's going to take down that healing by quite a bit, but it seems the damage still coming in pretty hard. Repair whittling away at shields, whittling away at the heroes, moving in for Polarity right now and still contesting this objective, making it very difficult, but you see the Cassidy coming in, ends up taking them right out of the fight, and control starts off for Polarity as they go ahead and clean up the rest of the map.
Yeah, Clap picking up where he left off from BPL Season 3. That's one in the Dome of the Tracer. Goodbye, Repair. Welcome to the BPL. You get a stern visit in the form of a bullet from Clap on the Cassidy. Really stepped up, absolutely popped off in the British Isles, I believe, and stepped up to A-League this year and did a fantastic job as well. Him and Clockwise, great duo looking to carry on. Great ult economy now for Polarity as well, as our Spamcom gets even more deadly with this window.
And already an amplification matrix coming out, being advanced by the side of Polarity as Sherbert goes ahead and tries to move in with the Dragon Strike, ends up creating space, finds 4, and cleans up the point. We're still seeing Schneepy here cleaning up the remainder, and at the 44% mark, we see controls swap over to Sherbert.
Yeah, not a bad first hold from Polarity, but I think they just weren't quite ready to go for the throat jack. They sort of saw that window and they didn't decide to push through it, and that meant that they all put their pressure, their DPS through one angle, which was the window, right? But I mean, against a Sigma, against a Dragon Strike, you just get pincered and you get rolled. Although, that's another great headshot.
Goodness, Clap just continuing to come here and smack hands and cheeks together right now as we see Schneepy with that gravitic flex. Doesn't find a whole lot of value from it as there's not a lot of follow-up after the bodies hit the floor, but the cleanup will be on the side of Polarity as they get pick after pick right now. Clap really living up to that Peacekeeper name in the lifeguard skin. Nonetheless, they're going to go ahead. Another stun and single shot to the dome. Swaps the point over for Polarity once again.
They get it. Repair's going to check under his bed for Clap tonight. They go to sleep. Oh my. Clap, well, I mean, by name, by nature, absolutely. That's a good to force out an early fortify now. Sherbert here, don't have the flux to recontest, but they are going to have the bongo and the rally. I think if Sherbert hold it, it's going to be a really expensive fight though, because Polarity, well, they've got everything as well.
Alright, we see the Dragon Strike coming in, but we see the self-destruct get traded by Superb. Deadeye also finds one, and that's going to continue to hold for now as Clockwise in the back line goes ahead and cleans up the remainder of Sherbert.
Yeah, Clockwise has been a little quiet through the course of this map, but that is not something to be taken lightly. Do not give this man any space, because Clockwise is lethal, particularly on this Echo, but it's 94% now. Sherbert need to scramble to the point, and they're going to be doing it down ultimate into a window from CL CEO.
Alright, the amplification matrix comes out. Schneepy and Demi moving into the objective to create that space, get that point in their favor, but the picks are coming in for the side of Polarity. There just seems to be nothing that Sherbert can do right now. You could say they're being melted down as you see Clockwork indeed putting in work there on and off the objective as the timer ticks down in overtime 100 to 45. Polarity goes ahead and takes the shrine and takes us to the second map of Busan.
Yeah, Polarity kind of put them in the snow cone and give them the blender. That was just an excellent taste of off-angling, of spam, of cooldown rotations from Polarity. They forced Sherbert to make a decision. When they made a decision, they made a mistake, and Polarity punished them every single time. They took their sled away. They kicked the reindeer in the teeth. I don't know what other analogies I want to go with, because none of those are actual analogies. They're just brutal images. You really hate to see it. But nonetheless, Sherbert have to respond to it. It's going to be a map that allows them to change their composition, luckily. Looks like Sherbert are going to be going over to the 6-1 in response, but Polarity, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're going to be going out pretty much exactly on the same comp that they started with. So for them, high ground position, spam, 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 spam. If they can block Schneepy from jumping in, then they've got a great opportunity to just take first hold.
Yeah, and I mean, this composition has been coming out a lot more all over the place, and Clockwork already finding the sticky mines onto Repair to start things off. Aquarius, though, able to get that hack. Go ahead and get Gavin out of the fight very early, but the picks are still coming in for Polarity. Nothing to slow that down, and Control will start off for Polarity.
Yeah, it's same. It's new point, same story, isn't it? Repair gets picked again by one of the DPS from Polarity. You really hate to see it when they lose that Tracer. They just lose so much off-angle, so much pressure. They're playing Bap Zen on Polarity, for Christ's sake, but Repair can't get anywhere near that very fragile backline. And when they don't, well, Seal and Alter are just ready to farm. And speaking of farm, Clockwise is just doing that. Execute Schneepy. You go.
You always gotta be careful. That beam, as soon as you are 1 HP under 50 health, that beam is just gonna melt you away, and it looks like Clockwork is just always there in the nick of time. The stagger right now coming out on Demi is not gonna be helpful for their next attack as Polarity reaches 40%.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising they've managed to get up to 40%. Actually, they've just been slowly burning the clock and slowly playing their time bank. Sherbert really not really getting a set fight here. They're going to have EMP, luckily, so I guess that's the way that they can get back into it. Obviously, EMP going to be massive against a very cooldown-centric composition that Polarity have going right now, but, I mean, Window can come out first, Duplicate can come out first, Tempo, right now, absolutely in the face and in the wind of Polarity. They absolutely have the first hand here, even against the EMP that could come out from Aquarius.
That's true. You do see Seal coming out early with that window to go ahead and create some space. Clockwise falls low, but is able to escape there onto the high ground. Definitely knows when to take that space and keep away That's for sure. Aquarius lining up the shot, ready to get into that back line and launch the EMP out. Ends up getting the pick that they were looking for to be able to start things off, but now the ultimates are being unleashed by Polarity. They're not allowing any mistakes here. The EMP not finding the value they were hoping for, and as overtime ticks away, Sherbert are just in desperation mode right now, trying to hold on. Clap ends up finding the cheeks of the Lucio player on Sherbert, and Polarity locks down downtown and goes ahead and takes Busan 1-0 in our showdown tonight.
It looks like the cows have gotten off their surfboard, they've put on a warm Christmas jumper, and they've just gone to farm Sherbert here in Busan. That Cowabunga core were excellent this entire map, and it started with Pick in the first fight, Pick in the second fight, Pick in the first fight on the second point as well. Both DPS. Obviously, they were in the kill feed a lot, and that's not the only thing that we look at, but so much pressure was put onto Sherbert by Polarity, and you need to do something in that sense. And as I sort of mentioned on it slightly, Polarity are forcing Sherbert to do something, and when they're doing something, they're making a mistake. I think it's a bit clear that Sherbert's synergy isn't quite as up to the level of Polarity, and also their decision making isn't up as well. Sherbert, these players coming up from B League to A League, whereas on the flip side for Polarity, they've got experience. These guys are probably playing a little a little bit under their normal SR range, but it's been a bit too comfortable for Polarity in map 1. I hope Sherbert can respond, otherwise this could be a quick trip to the Snow Cone factory.
Yeah, that's definitely understandable here, especially when it comes to things like team synergy. If you at least have one or two players that are kind of coming along with you, it's kind of easy to kind of keep that synergy alive, even if you're still working in new players. But if you're pretty much an entirely new team made up of other teams, it does make it a little bit more difficult in that standpoint. But, as I say, I'm always one for the underdog. I'm sure that Sherbert has a plan to be able to turn this around. We are heading to Assault next, and by my understanding, they will be picking where we're heading to if they haven't already. And it looks like would not be a snowball fight without some good old love for Volskaya Industries for our next map.
Yeah, Volskaya probably the best designed 2CP map in my opinion. I think a lot of people also say Anubis, but I present to you Junkrat. In this case, Volskaya, very, very snowbally map, historically been dominated by Sombra, Genji, Echo, Tracer. But for how... I almost said submissive there. For how oppressed DPS players, that's not the word as well. For how bad DPS has been as a role, like throughout the history of Overwatch, Volskaya is a great opportunity for DPS players again to really step up and pop off. We've seen it in finals of Overwatch League Season 1. We've seen it, in the whole history of the game. So I'm looking forward to see it. But, that's warning signs for Sherbert, right? Because we were literally just raving. Myself in particular, like, Clap and Clockwise could just absolutely giga farm this map. So I would be worried if I'm Sherbert, but I'm expecting to see a response from them. 2CP allows you to play more set strategies, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, the great thing about Volskaya as well is that you can use so many different compositions on this map, especially from a defensive angle. You can decide to go a lot more offensive with the dive or the double bubble, even on the defense, or you can bunker down if you really want to make it difficult for the attacking team. Come out with the double shield, make them really work to get you off of that objective. There is literally a bunker on the objective that you can just sit there and keep it contested for as long as you possibly can. And if anyone's been playing any No Limits as of late, believe me, people have been utilizing that very well. Let me tell you, 4 or 5 bastions sitting in that thing, nobody's touching that objective. But at very least, with a bunker on this map, it can still be incredibly useful for the heroes that are in play. And looking at what Polarity is coming out with the start, like you said earlier, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Clap and Clockwise is going to have a lot of room to work.
These are definitely their comfort heroes. I think that is no secret. Seal CEO is going to be going over to the Kitten Supremacy in the chat, any believers, was decent on the Mercy when they played for Cowabunga. Definitely more of a facilitator and a comma, definitely more macro-based, but obviously Mercy, not the highest mechanical ceiling of a hero. Octa still going to be in on the Arna, so a chance to flex a little bit of anti-grenade. Aquarius though going to be popping over to take that Echo Duel against Clockwise. I think this is a bit more even than we saw first map, and looks like Schnippy and Demi have actually swapped over the tank role, so it's going to be the Schnippy on the Winston for this one. I do know he is a good Winston though. Oh my god, clap again. How does he do it?
Already siding out Bean Can, not a great way to get started. Repairs going for the chase though, looking to see if they can find Clockwise, but not before Dark Phantom goes down with both healers down. There's not much that Sherbert can do at this point except back up and regroup.
Yeah, not to hate on, or to, I guess subliminally hate on anyone else in Polarity. This comp that Polarity are playing, by the way, is set up around letting Clap and Clockwise take space, take time, take angles, and put damage into Sherbert, and they're doing it brilliantly, but they're just being rewarded sort of every second they're alive because of the support that they're getting from the Polarity tanks and the Polarity backline as well. Look at the Winston, gets flashed. Oh! Goodbye, Schneepy.
Wow,
Goodbye.
Just absolutely deleted in the dive. Clap, just using that Peacekeeper as it was meant to be to click heads left, right, and center. Even getting a little aggressive right now, trying to find Aquarius essentially in their spawn area. We do see the duplicate come out from Clockwise, looking to get that Primal Rage online. There it goes. Duplicate Primal, slapping everyone back into the spawn. No, we're not going to let you get anywhere close to that objective. Already a minute and 45 seconds off of that clock, Jace, and Sherbert have nothing to show for it.
It's so much time off the clock, but luckily they've got a quick turnaround here. Beancan's going to go with the Valkyrie. If they can nano Schnippy, they can come over from Dark Phantom, then maybe they've got a shot.
Yeah, that might be a way to turn things around. Clap incredibly low, but gets the support of that halt to keep Schneepy at bay just long enough to click some heads. The Deadeye comes out, gets nothing but the duplicate DM coming out from Aquarius. Demi and Aquarius taking up that double tank role right now as Schneepy's getting back into the fight. As we see Gavin trying to hold on to this side room, hold on to that mega health pack as best as they can. That's first tick on the objective. Some sticky mines and some pulse pistols to go ahead and take Gavin out of the fight, and that's going to be objective alpha. Clockwise is going to try to turn the tide of this fight, but it's all said and done as far as I'm concerned. There's not going to be a lot more that Polarity can do to hold this point, but shaving off 3 minutes from the clock, that's a great way to get started.
Well, we finally answered the question, how many tanks does it take to shut down Clap on Cassidy? And the answer is 3. Thanks to the duplicate copy that came in from Aquarius. That was 2 divas, by the way, completely smothering that Cassidy off on the angle, and they needed to. They fell him quick, and Polarity fell down from there. So that was actually excellent play from Sherbert. They needed the 3 tanks to do it, but hey, by any means necessary. Any Marxists in the chat. And they hold on to the nano as well, actually. So Dark Phantom, great opportunity for them to snowball and give Schneepy, considering that they've got the Primal Rage to go as well.
Exactly. Use the Primal Rage to engage, and then a Nano to earn up the next one. Self-destruct goes in deep, the shield goes down, and so does the Bongos. Repair sends the Pulse Bomb high, but ends up finding nothing but wall. Now that Primal is just unleashed on this objective as they are looking for pick after pick right now. The res does come in onto Gavin to bring them back into this fight, and now the self-destruct comes out in trade from Clockwise on the duplicate Diva. Repair trying to make their way, and they were able to get at least 1 tick on the board, but it's not going to be good enough. Claps back and retakes objective Bravo with 2:45 on the clock.
Yeah, now that Clap doesn't have 2 divas in his face, he's gone back over to the Cassidy and did a nice job at cleaning up Sherbert. It's honestly not a bad fight. Yes, they committed their primary win conditions, but they managed to get ticks on the point, and that is not something you can say about a lot of pushes on TCP, particularly on this map. That spawn hold is lethal. Gavin has now made the swap over to the pig. So looks like we're going to having some pigs and blankets here. Very, very fitting considering we are on the snowy map in the Christmas tournament. But nonetheless, I am just stalling, waiting for Sherbert to dive here. There's going to be a little bit of downtime. Both teams going to be poking, but in the end, this poke, I think it's only going to benefit the side of Polarity.
Gavin, apparently not worried whatsoever, is in the back line of Sherbert solo as the Roadhog. Ore got 2 picks. Clockwise is able to get 1 in tow as well. Aquarius looking to turn the tide, but is now right out of the fight. Didn't see Clockwork on their keister, and that's going to be the end of that fight before it even got started, with Polarity holding on to Point Bravo.
Yeah, Aquarius managed to find a nice 2k, but I mean, it's just, you need so much to be able to break this point off of Polarity. They have so much angle control with this composition that it's so hard for Sherbert to break through. They've got you've heard of a war on 2 fronts, right, Jack? This is like a war on 15 fronts for them. There's just so many angles, so much kill threat from everyone. Bar, Silsey, on the damage boost. Goodbye, Aquarius.
It's just always beautiful timing as well. Aquarius comes back just in the nick of time. Beancan gets the protection that they need. We do see the self-destruct coming out from Superb to go ahead and get that remake back, but Aquarius finds them right before Clockwise coming in as the duplicate Tracer gets the Nano too. They are putting a lot of faith into Clockwork to make some action happen here. Even uses the recall to avoid getting taken out by the duplicate self-destruct of Aquarius, and just goes ahead, hunts Aquarius down, finds him in their sights, and Gavin on the point finds the hook and is able to grab Repair by the edge of their teeth. 23 seconds remaining on the clock. We're heading into last fight territory, and Sherbert aren't going to have a lot of time to set up.
Yeah, they've not really made any progress on the point since that fight where they sunk 3 or 4 ultimates down. Clap once again on the off angle, and if Clockwise can find a pick as well, that'll be all she wrote. But it looks like Gavin gets the hook, forces Sneepy out. That means no jump to contest. This is already a dicey fight for Sherbert. Oh, it gets worse.
Ooh. Just barely able to touch, but Clap is in the back line with the pistols, claiming cheeks as we speak. Superb able to get the follow-up as well. There's no support on this final objective for Sherbert, has already been cleaned up. Sleepy, last one to fall as overtime ticks away 44.8%. 4 Point Bravo for the side of Sherbert. At least a line is drawn in the sand, though. If they can hold Objective Alpha or even Objective Bravo to that first tick mark, Sherbert has set themselves up for their first victory.
I think if they manage to hold it, I would have to give them a Bravo, to be honest. It would be a Bravo if they managed to hold this. Yes, technically, Sherbert do have a win condition, but it doesn't feel like a win condition. You get what I mean. It's going to be very difficult because Polarity, if they needed time to beat Sherbert, then they're going to have it. They've got 4 minutes, and then they're going to have potentially up to, however many more they want on point B, added a time bank. Sherbert going to be rolling out here on a comp that we've not seen them play yet, but something that I very much like. This is going to be a double shield Echo Ash spam. So this is going to be so much pressure on basically anything that dares breathe within either sideline of Sherbert. I'm not quite sure if the macro is going to be up to scratch. Hopefully they at least know to off angle and take either side of the high ground. Echo from Aquarius is going to be great to off angle as well. They're going to need execute cleanup damage desperately with this composition because it's just so much poke, not enough actual cleanup. That's where the ultimates from double shield historically come through to clean up. But now for Polarity, as I said, it's a time game for them, and there's no better time game than just having your monkey be shot and then nanoing him into their whole team.
And the great thing about it is that it allows them to keep some distance on Polarity, which in the close 1v1 fights have been difficult. Clockwise has already found Repair with a matter of ease, has snuck themselves along the flank, and they weren't even expecting it. The res does come into play just in time, but Clockwise is healed up and ready to jump back into the action, is already getting the picks that are needed. Aquarius is able to get the trade onto Gavin, but the damage is already done at this point. There is not much that Sherbert can do on this high ground. First and second tick already given up as they start moving their way to the low ground. They just get immediately deleted by Clockwise as they touch the point. 3 minutes becomes 6 minutes now on the clock as they look to bum rush Bravo.
Yeah, they're just gonna hold the W key because why not? They're gonna wait, probably, and give the nano over to Gavin just to make it secure. But Sherbert now have to retake the double shield comp, and that it's not durable.
Seal just coming in with the flail, says, nope, you're not touching this objective. No way, no how. Wants to get in a little bit of that action as well. The Deadeye comes out, cleans up the remainder, and Polarity in a sweeping motion take objective Bravo, bringing us to match point here on Volskaya Industries.
It's a deserved Bravo as well for Polarity. They played this map so well. I think, bar obviously the individual pickoffs, which we might have to name to the repair incident. This might go on the BPL iceberg. I don't know if Paracelsus is in the chat, but this one may be added to the iceberg at the end of the game. I don't want to quite call it just yet, but potentially. I believe we have Jimmy coming back in now to talk a little bit about said Sherbert. Okay. We've had a word from producers that we're going to throw it to a short break. So, Polarity really putting their foot on the gas, looking to accelerate through and just demolish the entire snow cone factory. They're on match point already. I don't really know what else to say. I guess I'll hand it over to Jack so we can send it off to a short 5-minute break.
Yeah, there's not really much more to say here. Sherbert hopefully taking this break time to be able to kind of analyze where they went wrong. I mean, right now it just seems like Polarity is quite the well-oiled machine, and Sherbert's going to have to take it up a few more notches if they don't want to be melted out of this first match of the Winter Snow Brawl. We'll be back in just a few moments with more amazing BPL action.
It's December again, I can't believe it. Whatever happened to the rest of the year? It went by so fast, I barely did see it. Now I'm calling all angels high, if you are there, help me find the Christmas spirit again. The Christmas spirit again. That warm place in my heart that was there from the start. I want that Christmas spirit again. I find myself wandering downtown, window shopping, listening to the sound from some street crier caroling through the air, and the smell of the big Christmas tree in the square. Here comes the Christmas spirit again.
Hey, we're back. Back here with Jace and Captain Jack on the desk. So far, it's been a quick 2-0 at the moment for Polarity. It's kind of been the Polarity show, and you know we haven't really had the opportunity yet to talk a little bit more about Sherbert. So I guess we'll use this little break that we have until the teams are ready again to maybe look at this team a little bit more. You know, Jace, you already mentioned we have Beancan and Sky here from 7Ps. Also should worth mentioning Aquarius, who was on A-League on Beach Rock Bears last season. We also have Schnippy, who was on Genesis in Sub 24. And then other than that, it's like a lot of unknown players. I personally don't know them that well. I have been told some of them are like from League Zero, some of them like from like Inspire, from Toker. So a lot of like unknown players, but I think they know each other pretty well, which is why they've formed this team together. You know, like I guess you could definitely say right now they're the underdog because they're down 0-2. What do you guys think they can do to like turn this around and maybe get a little upset and a little comeback here?
I don't want to be too pessimistic if I'm them, but I think for Sherbert, it's sort of a case of you're coming up against what I think is genuinely one of the strongest teams on paper in the whole of A-League, and they're absolutely showing it right now. So if you establish building blocks for your other matches, you get the baseline of communication down, you can be fine because, I'm going to be real, in the fights where Repair hasn't just gotten insta-gibbed by either of the Polarity DPS, they've looked solid. Their ultimates have been layered most of the time. They have I'd say a basic understanding of win conditions. It's just obviously a massive step up for some of these players because Polarity they've got A-League players in it, and for Sherbert, most of them are from B-League and sort of lower SR, so going up against that SR gap is not also that SR gap, it's also that experience. Like Sky, one of their highest SR players, I believe, not here tonight. So that potentially could be a massive hole in their roster, and people could be off-rolling. They couldn't miss a flex support. I've only seen Beancan on off-tank for 7-piece. I don't know if this is his best role. That might be my bad, but I just don't know. Sherbert, a lot of question marks for me right now.
Yeah, I'd have to pretty much agree with what you're saying. I think the biggest thing is that they need to focus on shutting down Clockwise and Clap right now. They are just being given too much space to move around and to be able to function. And like you were saying, Jimmy, too many times have we seen that early pick come off that just kind of opens it up for Polarity. So if we see a little bit more head on a swivel from Sherbert, you know, checking your corners, always making sure that someone's not sneaking up on you or coming in that off angle. I think that, you know, heading into what looks like Rialto for our next map could bar that reverse sweep to start happening.
Yeah. JC mentioned like Sky's missing today. If I remember correctly, I think he was a main tank on 7Ps. You know, missing your main tank in your first match, definitely very rough. But also, as you said, Polarity, they've been playing really, really well. I mean, they have A-League players, and it's like A-League players from the 4th place team. There's nothing to hide behind. Clockwise, definitely been one of the DPS surprises in Season 3. Came from like B-League, from like British Brawl teams, and has had a really explosive season on Kawabanga as well. Really like 2 extraordinary DPS players. It looks like the teams are ready. We're gonna head in. It's gonna be Rialto for our 3rd map. We can see maybe Polarity is gonna make this a quick game, or Sherbert can maybe take this one back and get a little reverse sweep going. We're gonna head in with our casters, Jace and Captain Jack.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. I do want to apologize. I've been having a little bit of issues on my side, so any names botched, please feel free to blame me in the chat. I am totally used to it after surprisingly almost 4 years casting this game. You think you're sad playing this game for over 4 years. Think about casting it for over 4 years. It's really surprising to me, but Polarity, Jace... They're doing the Diva Shuffle. Oh my gosh.
They're gonna do the Korean tangos. They push Superb up, and they're gonna be pushing Sherbert to the spawn door. So it's not a game for Polarity about winning. It's just a game about drawing time off the clock, because if Sherbert are gonna win this, they're gonna need ultimates and they're gonna need time to do it, which means that Polarity, if they want, they can just counter swap and go back. But it looks like Polarity get the first pick, and again, it's just really all about this time bank for Polarity. How much of it can they draw before Sherbert finally manage to get this payload rolling?
That's true, and I don't think that Sherbert... Well, I would say that most teams probably aren't prepared to just see the enemy team rolling up into your spawn doors to start things off. I mean, this isn't Havana, after all. As you see, Clockwise already working their way around with those Maywall, but the Immortality was doing a pretty good job of keeping everybody alive until it wasn't. Sherbert gets cleaned off of the map once again, and that's still not even a minute on the off of the clock just yet.
Yeah, and what's worse now is the Polarity can actually bait Sherbert to go out into them because they're going to have an amplification matrix. Look, there we go. Oh, it's an early lamb. They find the May of Clockwise.
It's true, and you do see the Maywall come up is going to remove a little bit of that efficacy of that amplification matrix.
Oh my god, massive slam.
Now finds two! Finds three sheep! Not going to be allowing them to be held in this spawn very much longer. Gavin does get a double trade as well, but Repair going to be coming back out on that Cassidy. Going to go ahead and get the cleanup. And still above 2 minutes. Definitely a respectable time to get that payload moving.
Yeah, Gavin gonna need to put back on the jacket after that slam. Little bit dusty, I think, from not really playing main together. I believe it is his primary role. Has been almost shifted onto flex support in these last couple of teams, but back on the Reinhardt of this tournament, unfortunately, on the end of a massive Earth Shatter there. And Sherbert now, they've got momentum, they're playing with confidence. They're going to go forward with a window, and it's only going to snowball into a Mayo from Aquarius.
Woo! Well, we do see Aquarius able to get Snowball out of hand before the self-destruct goes down and takes the DPS out of the fight. Unfortunately, there isn't going to be a lot of cleanup there. It's going to be up to Schneepy and Deem to be able to hold this line, but I don't think it's going to be enough right now. Clockwise just absolutely clicking heads with icicles, really kind of setting the mood for this Snowdown right here as they lock it down at 60 meters.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is the first May that we've seen in the whole Snowdown, I believe, so it's only fitting, but that first Blizzard that came out from Aquarius, such an important ultimate in the Brawl Mirror, just punished by the Diva Bomb of Superb. Great read, really nice, just found two. They could not push through the Blizzard because, hey, they had the bomb on their backsides to worry about. Speaking of backside, looks like Gavin has gone on a flank, doesn't even... Oh, he does have the Earth Shatter, actually.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I don't know if Deem ended up going for the remake there, or if they ended up getting... or if they ended up trying to throw the bomb and ended up missing it. But regardless, they will be punished. They will not be able to hold this line. And Sherbert gets sent back to spawn once again by force with 45 seconds remaining on the clock.
It's penultimate fight, and I hate to twist the rusty knife, Captain Jack, but that fight was a 5v6 for Sherbert because Gavin was off in Vietnam, and they lost it. You really hate to see it. Beancan's going to be on the Lucio here. This is going to be a random pin. Instead, yes, he has, but no, he doesn't get bailed out here, surely not. Okay, finally, thank you. Gavin instantly died for it. Good.
There we go. The Deadeye coming out right now. Clap trying to find some value, but gets nothing but shield and defense matrix, and that is just going to be a roll right there. You do see the pick come in onto Dark Phantom, though. They're going to get taken out early by Alter, so they may not be here for this final fight, and they will get a chance to contest here if Polarity chooses to do so.
They will do. It's going to be a high noon to zone, though, and hey, when you're trying to cap an objective, zoning's going to be perfect. This is going to be a chunky high noon. That Ryan shield of Gavin, so low. Sleepy got an Earth Shatter. Can he do it again?
Oh, so close. The shield stays up just enough to be able to hold that line. They're on the objective. The Blizzard does come out from Aquarius, gets taken out by Clockwise. Once again, it's going to be up to Repair and that Peacekeeper to be continuing to click heads. Now it's the Blizzard Clockwise to be able to try to turn this tide, keep them off that point, but Repair has got on a lock, has been taking notes from Clap all game, and is now going to be able to get this objective moving. Overtime is continuing to tick. The shatter does come out from Gavin, but again, the cleanup is not there. They cannot stay on this point for very long. We do see now Clap swapping over to the Tracer, but they are getting clapped from the point as quickly as they're getting on it. First point captured, 2:30 added to the clock, and Sherbert are making their way to Objective Bravo.
Finally, nice little Pokemon evolution there from the Sherbert DPS line. Aquarius and Repair really popped off, really stepped up in this last fight when they needed to. Repair actually generated a high noon during that long overtime fight, so had two there within the span of about 45 seconds, so both Peacekeepers in this lobby, very, very, very dangerous. Right now, though, Polarity, again, they're just going to bomb the payload with confidence, and they find one, but losing the maze is really important here.
Yeah, gonna be a little bit more difficult to be able to hold that. Self-destruct goes in deep for Deem. Ends up finding Alter with your main heals off of the point. It's gonna be really difficult for them to be able to hold on to this Schneepy, cleaning it up with the axe. And that's gonna go ahead and push them through choke and possibly get them objective Bravo if they're not careful.
It's looked a lot better from Sherbert, completely different from what we saw on Volstaya. They're now playing with tempo, they're now playing with confidence. Yes, they don't have the maze, so they can't quite win that Ryan 1v1, but it's just allowing Aquarius to go on these flanks and disrupt. It's another thing that Polarity need to look at and deal with, which means it's slightly less pressure. My god, yeah, that's the wall pin one-shot combo, you hate to see it.
Yeah, that was a well-timed wall pin right there for sure, and Superb getting the cleanup onto repair is going to make things a little bit more difficult. Goodness gracious, Polarity is just looking to take down Sherbert with a vengeance right now as they chase them essentially all the way back to spawn. Deem gonna go ahead take the hard reset after they get demacked, but now they're heading back into final fight territory there, Jason. Not for certain what they can do to uncrack this nut this time around.
It's going to be so difficult. I'm trying to desperately rack my brain to find a win condition for Sherbert. If they wrap up top, then they get high round, I guess, for repair and deme, but they have to touch the objective Jack. And, well, they're going to have to touch it into a high noon, a window that comes out late from Alta, and a blizzard from Clockwise. That's the Met gone as well, so that's a free blizzard for Clockwise.
Yeah, they got to be able to make their way in. We do see the beat invested by Bean Can. The DMAC comes in to see if they can hold on. Superb and Deem in the mini Diva battle, and Deem is like, no, I will win this. We will take this point. Clap is able to find the pick onto Dark Phantom, but the damage has been done. Sherbert not willing to let go of this objective yet. Grabs Point Bravo, starts making their way into Charlie with a Fury.
It looks like Sherbert just kind of wanted it a bit more. Polarity, I thought for sure the amount of ultimates they had, it meant that they were just going to walk this fight over, but they actually had to use those ultimates, and they didn't. This is going to be a window now to snowball. The Sherbert could be finishing this map. Oh, they found two picks again. This is so winnable.
Yeah, great way to go ahead and get things started. And with that Ant Matrix doling out a heck of a ton of damage, there's not going to be much that Polarity can do here. They have one last chance for a regroup, and Sherbert still have a good amount of time on the clock to get it into Charlie.
They really do. 44 seconds or even in overtime would not be a bad push for Sherbert whatsoever, and they've got ultimates to go first to do it. Clockwise is held on to Blizzard, but Schneepy, what a big slam.
Oh, you gotta always watch out for those slams, folks. The window does not stop you. Clap with the double. The Blizzard just not enough. Not able to hold through that just yet. But with 20 seconds remaining on the clock, Sherbert does have one chance to get there, but it's gotta be quick.
They do, and they've gone with the Sim TP, I believe, just to scramble back to the objective. It looks like both Polarity DPS had woken up in that last fight. They've taken a little nap. I guess it's going to be potentially a bait TP to try and touch. 3 seconds left. That's everyone on the floor from Gavin. Oh, it's a slaughter. They don't even touch the payload. Jack, they are put down. They are layered out. They are stuffed like a turkey, and they are fried like a piece of chicken. They are rolled like a sausage with bacon, and they are served like a Christmas dinner. All on the floor from Gavin. Oh my, what an earth shatter.
Jace, I have to wonder, are you hungry? Are you hungry?
Oh no, honestly no, I've actually
with all that beautiful food alliteration right there, I just have to wonder if maybe it didn't catch dinner before we started tonight.
No, but like, ironically, because of illness and stuff, I've not eaten a proper meal in like 3 days. So that's probably why, right?
I can definitely understand that for sure then. But nevertheless, despite being splayed out for the world to see there at the end, Sherbert got a lot further than we initially expected them to. We thought this was going to be a point alpha hold until we saw kind of Repair and Aquarius awaken during that final minute here on Objective Alpha. They're going to go ahead and stick with the tried and true, keep that May and Cassidy in the pocket. Polarity, though, looking to try something a little bit different.
You know what? They're pulling out the Genji, and Dragon Watch, the B League MVP, is punching the air right now because very big Genji enjoyer there over there for the Heartbreakers DPS will be making an appearance in this league as part of my team Butterfly fight. But who asked? Anyway, Polarity versus Sherbert. This is going to be a reverse hold from Sherbert. So once again, looking straight off the clock. Great pick onto Gavin.
It's a great way to get things started, and honestly, unless we end up seeing Clockwise really focusing down Repair, if they get anywhere close to Aquarius, it's going to be difficult for that Frozen Blade to get any damage done right now. We do see the swap of Gavin over to the Roadhog. Still not the pick that you would think to go into this composition with, but hey, they're trying to make it work. Clap now on the Junkrat, ends up finding the first pick. Clockwise able to get that trade, able to get the dash kill too. Little punch kill there on Repair to finish things off, and with only a minute off of that clock, not even, we will see Polarity go ahead and take to the street.
Huge plays from Clockwise, just dashing everywhere. Samurai Ninja Warrior powers absolutely activated. Please, no one clip it and ship it and send it to WiseX because he'll think the hero is viable and he'll start playing it in my scrims.
Oh,
Please,
man.
no. But nonetheless, I think that's just a symptom of the way that the game's going. Genji, absolutely clean up paradise there. Gavin, though, falls early. That's no main tank, I guess, because the Hog is the main tank. And okay, this fight's done before I can even throw it over.
Yeah,
3, 4,
I mean,
5. Quick.
To be honest, Gavin was way out of position right there. I'm not for certain what the objective of that was. Maybe they were looking to be kind of a little morsel for Sherbert to try to keep them distracted, but needless to say, that didn't work out so well for them. Polarity going to be coming in with a couple ultimates to get things started.
Oh, that deflect is just beautiful.
That's
by
nasty.
The way. Oh, that's so good from Clockwise.
That was nasty. The reflected nano blade shot there onto Repair was just absolutely devastating.
Did they put Adderall in? They put Adderall in this kid's Christmas turkey or what? Like, Clockwise is absolutely insane. He's farming so hard this map. I can't believe it. Like, this guy was on Burger Squad for the British Brawl, and a lot of people plays like Robbie, like I'm trying to find his name. Neo. He now goes by. Plays like that, but Clockwise popped off on that team, and then he went to A-League, and everyone was a bit surprised, and now he's just continuing to farm noobs. Like, he's doing so well, so love that for him. But Gavin not doing so well, just sat on the floor. Clap, though, kind of bails him out. Oh.
Alright, got the pin on the seal, but a massive anti-nade comes in from Alter, gonna make it a little difficult. Clockwise, though, just dives in, says, Purple, I can get that. 1, 2, skip a few, 99, 100, they all fall down like dominoes, and Sherbert goes back to spawn with a well-timed anti-nade and a few old dashes.
Yeah, they all fall down like a sneeze near an anti-vax rally. Just absolutely hit the floor. We won't get into that analogy further.
Oh, man.
Great pick from Gavin. Repair gets picked off again. And Polarity, they're probably just going to walk this one in. Great time back for them as they look to tap.
That's true. The self-destruct is going to be a quick reset, though, to get Demi back in this fight. Are actually going to get taken out before they're even able to remech. Dark Phantom, though, able to get the trade. And it looks like Polarity's going to be pushed back a little bit. With the 3 minutes still on the clock, though, they got plenty of time to make something happen.
They really do, and this Polarity comp feels like it shouldn't win neutral fights against a brawl composition as hard as it does. And luckily for them, if they are struggling, well, Clockwise has got Nanoblade. Beancam does not have the sound barrier to counter with it, so it's going to be all eyes on the Dashing Samurai for this next fight. I'm just waiting for it at this point.
I am looking at Schneepy right now. I am looking for them to shatter and just destroy that blade, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. The Nano Blade goes deep into the backline, finds 2 Superb, able to get the trade onto Schneepy as well, and Clockwise is just left to roam free on this objective. Repair? Why? Why are you literally feeding into Clockwise? Why?
Interesting. It's a Christmas Carol as old as time, though, right? Like the Genji with the Nanoblade. Clockwise just puts a couple of bullets in the brain of the Bastion. So down they go. Repair might be doing a little trolling, but You really hate to see it. Sherbert now, they're staggered, they're caught, they're in the middle, they can't really find anyone. They do manage to get Gavin and Clockwise though, so...
There we go.
Holdable. Okay, held. Wait, they held it. Okay. They've got Blizzard as well, so massive for Sherbert here in this next coming fight.
Not a hold, but more like a yield at this point. They will still be moving in on the 5v6 here as we see Sherbert getting set up. Still kind of odd to see Repair on this Bastion. Like you said, I'm not for certain if it's meant to be a troll or if they are legitimately thinking that this is the best pick against the Clockwise Genji we've seen so far. Demon does find Clap, though. Going to be able to at least get one of those DPS off this field thus far. Repair continuing to not know what Reflect does, apparently, as they get a whole bunch of bullets back into the face. But Clockwise is deep in the back line, looking for those dash kills once again, but gets punched out by Aquarius. That's going to be finally a hold on this objective. Clap, the only one nearby, swapping over to the Tracer to try to get back and help quick. 2 minutes on the clock, though, and Sherbert have quite a line to hold.
They do, and whilst it sort of feels like an inevitability, especially with the Nanoblade that comes up, look at the ultimates from Sherbert. It's 1 minute 50 left on the clock. This means 2 or 3 fights at max. This is definitely troll from Repair, but we're just trying to ignore it. As now they've got Blizzard, they've got both tank ultimates, and they've got both defensive/support ultimates to go. 137 means 2 or 3 fights. If they can get a pick onto Gavin, it could be another fight, more time drained off the clock. So Sherbert, this is really, really winnable for them.
Well, there comes out the Nanoblade once again, looking for a pick, but finds zero value, actually. Clap does get into that backline and finds Dark Phantom, though. And another massive anti-nade comes in from Alter. They just do not miss right now, and Clockwise is still chasing down. And Repair is like, no, I will keep repairing myself. Whatever it takes, I will keep staying alive. You are not taking out this Bastion today. A minute remaining on the clock right now. Sherbert, honestly, looking like they might turn this tide in their favor.
This might be the most egregious map in history. This might be one of the biggest steals I think I've ever seen. Because Sherbert, now, they're on a kind of a better composition. If Beancam was on break, then I think Sherbert would be borderline undiveable. Polarity are bone dry and ultimates on a composition really that lacked damage without the Nanoblade that comes through. This Bastion going to be really hard to maneuver without the lamp as well. It's going to be the ult that comes in. Sherbert, 24 seconds left. They found Gavin.
Great way to go ahead and get things started, and with Alter down as well, they're not going to be finding that Nano, at least in this fight. 13 seconds remaining on the clock. There might not even be time for much of a contest, except for Clap in this backline if they don't get caught first.
I think he doesn't quite manage to get the touch because of the 3-second rule. Seal CEO is going to have the rally, though. Gavin, no, he gets full. That's no ball, that's no engage. Oh my, have Sherbert actually done it?
I mean, it might be possible. One last Nanoblade for the road here is Clockwise looking to carry the entire map on his back. Clap comes out with the double as we see Deem coming out, taking down the DPS. Sneepy and Deem not looking to allow any of this to happen, and Aquarius sends in the Winter Wonderland on the objective. Gavin, the only remaining member of the team on the point, can't rotate around fast enough to miss the self-destruct, and somehow, Jay, some way, Sherbert has stolen Rialto and has started the beep reverse sweep as we head into hybrid.
It's a Christmas miracle. Welcome to the Snowdown, ladies and gentlemen, where you can win a map on Bastion. It really is something I've never seen before. The Bastion felt like the world's biggest, red herring ever. They spent so much effort into displacing Repair that they just ended up dying to everyone else around him as well. Like Aquarius, both Tank, Sneepy, Deme, and in particular Beancan's beats were so good, generated so quickly, were those sound barriers. He had it basically every time Clockwise dared pull out that weeb stick with the nano that went onto him as well. So obviously Dark Phantom there on the Baptiste had some really crucial lance. I believe he blocked the second deadly swing, which allowed the reset onto Repair on that Bastion when they allowed it. So that's like a game-winning lamp right there in itself. So Repair, I guess, kind of playing main tank on DPS right now. A little bit interesting. Not something I've seen. Very unconventional gameplay, but were in the Snowdown. These guys, I guess, had too much turkey. Completely, they put something in the crack pipe, right? And they smoked it, and it worked. So like, I just run with it if I'm them. Let's see. This could be 2-2. This could be 3-1, and Sherbert could completely capitulate on Eichenwald. It's a very, very strong map for Polarity and a spam composition that they could pull out. I have no idea. At least it's not a 3-0.
Yeah, it's not a 3-0, and we're not even for certain if it will even be a 3-1 yet. Eichenwald is definitely a beautiful map to be able to utilize that Bastion on as well, if they so choose to do so. And like you said, I was kind of thinking it was kind of the mean pick there from Repair, mostly because they ended up getting a lot of bullets deflected back into them because they didn't know when to stop shooting. But after they stopped getting that Genji blade in their face, like they really started focusing down the main targets as the Bastion, which are the tanks and the shields, really taking them down as quickly as possible to create space for the tanks and for Aquarius on that May to be able to make space for the rest of the team to be able to clear the way. So with Eichenwald in our sights right now, Jace, I don't know. Do you think that you see Polarity coming out on the same composition we saw in Rialto, or do we see them going back to that tried and true that won them the first couple maps?
I mean, I think Polarity should come out on the Echo Cassidy again. I believe this map proves, if any, that Genji is in fact a social experiment, because they lived by the Dragon Blade and they died by the Dragon Blade, because when Clockwise wasn't able to get the dash resets, similar to Viego in League of Legends, for example, that's going to be a reference that basically no one in the chat gets, but whatever, I'll use it anyway, because such a reset reliable champion, such a reset reliant champion, that when the Genji couldn't dash through and collect that cleave damage, the actual DPS that Clockwise gave onto Sherbert was pretty much naught. And it meant that the Genji was just a sitting duck. They were actively waiting for everyone else on the team to do damage, and there wasn't a Zen for Discord Orb, for the Genji, for the Ball, for the Tracer of Polarity to follow. And whilst Gavin, and in particular Clap, almost deadlifted that map on his own in that last couple of fights, it was a huge anti from Alta as well that I believe Jimmy pointed out in the live chat. Such a big nade, they didn't win off that. Like, I don't know. Let's see. Will Sherbert come out and play Bastion on the defense? Will Polarity just play not Genji and win? You know what? Find out in today's episode of BPL. Like, play the intro music. Like, play the Friends theme, and let's go for it. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, there really, it's no holds bar at this point as to what these teams will do to clinch victory right now. Hopefully, this is more of a little of an ego check there for Polarity. The first two maps were seemed like easy street for them, but hey, Sherbert has found their stride and showed that they are not going to go easily into that good night. No way, no how. Polarity are going to be coming in on the defense to get started, and Clap is like, okay, you can run the Bastion. I think we can too.
You know what? We do a little bit of trolling here in the BPL. So if they're going to play on
just
the defense,
a little bit.
maybe Clap is just like so tilted from that losing to Bastion on that last map. He's just absolutely vowed to give the Omnic a try. And this is the map where the Omnics formerly ruled. They formerly took over. And Polarity's bunker composition, you know what, it's not bad. I think I'm huffing way too much copium here anyway, but like if there's ever a comp for Polarity to pull out a Bastion with, like, it's going to be this one that we've seen them play and do really well with. Clockwise now going to be on the Pharah instead of the Echo, so this is like little own brand Echo. I think Pharah not as good as Echo in particular because of the lack of, you know, an execute, because Pharah needed an execute. And Sherbert just going to be going on the broad composition, so it's about pace, it's about time, and Repair does repair things and gets picked first fight.
Yeah, just was taking the off angle, was hoping that there wouldn't be anything in their face, but unfortunately there was a lot in their face in the form of that Pharah Mercy. Clockwise doing what they do best, getting picks, taking names, and sending folks over the side. They were able to get the first tick on the board, though, so that's a good way for Sherbert to get started.
I wonder if Sherbert are just going to try and essentially send it to point and see if they can cap off like C9s and pure point pressure alone, because Sherbert have to take long rotations into this Polarity composition. And when they do, well, Clap and Clockwise are just going to be shooting at them and eventually putting them in a coffin. It's just a case of when and not if. So maybe there's an opportunity for Sherbert to play the time bank. But interestingly here, looks like they're going to go for a TP up top. No, good awareness from Polarity to insta-destroy it.
Yeah, definitely having a no-holds-bar there. The barrage already coming out from Clockwise, finds the double, and the cleanup is fast and fierce from Polarity. They're not going to let them get that second tick. They have anything to say about it, and they were really freaking close. 2:30 remaining on the clock as Sherbert prepares for the next fight.
Yeah, Polarity trying to keep the channel points in tech, and this is going to be more ultimate charge that goes over to Clockwise as they rain down onto the defense matrix and the Diva mech of Deme. They've done a swing with Window Sherbert next fight, so it's potentially not the worst thing in the world. That Sim TP is going to potentially be disastrous. Just look at the HP bars of Beancan and Repair, and now they do... Nice, okay, this is a good rotation from Sherbert. They're going to wrap under, and hopefully they're going to try and push on the Bastion with the amp speed.
That's definitely the goal right here, but unfortunately, when you're trying to amp in on someone that's not there, it's going to be very difficult for you to do the full rotation as Array come out from Polarity. They knew exactly where they were going. The Shatter comes out, but straight into a fortified Orisa, and there goes Clockwise again, raining down Hellfire from above. That long rotation was all for naught as Polarity continue their stranglehold of Objective Alpha.
Unfortunately for them, yes, it was a really long rotation, and it meant that Polarity were just able to pick their time. They were patient, and, well, when it rains it pours, and it's a complete barrage of justice that comes down from Clockwise, and 3 or 4 sent backpacking to the spawn room. That's basically fight over for the attack. Now they make some swaps. They go over to the Echo. They go over to the Cassidy, and really, they know Clockwise is a pain. They're really going to commit to them, but they lose a lot of brawl potential because of it. This Reinhardt from Schnippy now basically left Bone out to dry against this Polarity composition.
Yeah, there's no way to really close this gap. I mean, the biggest hit that I'm seeing right now is that they're in all of the compositions that they were running, there was 0 Lucio, so they're moving at regular hero speeds to try to get where they're going. Seal going down early, though, is a great way to get started. Clap, interestingly, in the recon mode for quite a bit there, but they do end up finding Repair to go ahead and possibly turn this tide. The trade comes in. Superb and Dark Phantom. It's a 4v4 right now on the objective. The self-destruct goes high. Finds 2. Team not allowing this point to go just yet into that good night. They want to be able to grab that third tick. And Aquarius is in the sky. Finds Seal. Repair following up on the Clockwise. And that is going to be just about it once they get Superb off of this point. Okay, that's going to be payload unlocked in the nick of time. 2:30 on the clock once again as they move their way into the streets.
Oh, not again. Sherbert do it at the death, and they do it thanks to Aquarius and Dean. Nice little 2k bomb. Nice right click as well. That Echo pick has been working wonders for them, giving them a great opportunity to carry on playing Overwatch on this map. As I say that, it's a quick cleanup, but Aquarius, could he flip it? Could he do it again? I don't think so.
Gonna have to give up that space, unfortunately, and be able to get back to the safety of the team. They're gonna have to work hard to get through this choke. Well, now with the high ground in control of Polarity, we see Clockwise trying to rotate around with that barrage. Not gonna find the value they're looking for. Deadeye comes out from Repair. Not going to find any value there as well, but the Shatter from Schneepy comes in perfect timing as does the barrage. Clockwise just gets a free reign right there. Beautiful pick-me-ups there. Lots of opium for Polarity as they go ahead and shave down that time bank once again.
That's a 5k from Clockwise. I thought potentially that the fight was done. Clockwise had to act fast with that barrage because, well, people on the ground, his team on the ground were falling, and they were falling fast. 2 had already gone down before the time he barraged, but unfortunately Sherbert just didn't quite have the defensive resources to manage against the barrage. The defense matrix ran out, and Clockwise killed 5. So that bird, absolute pest in the sky, and Clockwise has been a thorn in the side of Sherbert all series long, and yet again comes up huge for Polarity, puts them in a great position now with 40 seconds left to hold and close out this series. Yet again, that's a big no-hit stand. Clockwise again. I think Alter going down means pretty much zip because, Aquarius though finds both supports.
That's true, and seeing Clap now on this Reaper is going to be providing a lot of benefit to the side of Polarity. They've got a lot of damage that they can dole in onto those tanks. With only 20 seconds remaining on the clock, Sherbert has 1 shot to take it from gate to gate right now with no chance of stopping.
It's going to be so hard, and there's going to be a barrage that comes down from Clockwise. There we go.
My goodness.
It's looking close. This could be for Sherbert.
They might be able to flip the single fight, but there's at least another fight happening between here and that last gate, and Clockwise is not going to allow them to fall just yet. The payload is still stuck there at the 52-meter mark. The self-destruct ends up going high. Deem finding Seal once again, and Clockwise takes to the sky with the nano. Team only has so much defense matrix to be able to let go of an Alter, just cleaning up every shot that Clockwise shoots gets followed up with a dart from Alter to finish them off. 52-21 the payload for objective Bravo, as we see Sherbert take to the defense and see if they can hold point Alpha.
Polarity looked a lot better that map, actually. Sherbert really struggled to get out the gates, and honestly, against a Pharah that good, just don't have the resources. They needed to push the tempo, they needed to sweep out the high grounds and play it little by little. It was a case of long division, and they tried to do it all in one go, and they fell into the classic pitfall of playing against a Pharah, which is you counter swap to double hit stand, or you just have one hit stand when it's actually easier to just roll over the tanks and then deal with the Pharah last. Pharah, it's a very all-in. You either need to all ignore or you need to all kill, and it's very hard for everyone to all kill because you've got 4 people on the ground for Polarity to deal with as well. 4 very, very good players, and so much attention, so much resource, so much space was bought up by Clockwise that map that Polarity were just free-farming. Like, Gavin basically didn't die the entire map. I think he died once or twice. Superb, I think, was only out of mech once or twice as well. But Sherbert, they've got a plan and they've got a hold. I mean, they did it on Rialto third. Can they do it on Icon Vault first? Because they've got to be clean, they've got to be crisp. If they dare get staggered, if they dare get team-wiped, that payload, that final destination, that golden box, Captain Jack, well, it's very, very close to that gate, and if it rolls over, then it's just series.
Yeah, we will have to see how well they can hold it, but they also have that same high ground advantage. If they can keep Polarity off of it, it may bode incredibly well for them. And we do have Repair back on the Bastion once again, zoning out every line of sight that they possibly can from this bunkered position, and with Clap already falling early thanks to Aquarius diving in, that might be just about said and done right now. We do see there's rotation coming out from Clockwise, and Seal gonna fall incredibly low, but Aquarius is able to get back into the fight and be able to get control there and take Gavin out of that fight as well. Polarity gonna have to pull back, even if it's just for a moment, to be able to regroup with the heroes that they've lost.
Yeah, Polarity are going to have a really nice re-engage here with the Nano onto the Pharah or onto the Wrecking Ball. Aquarius, so as I mentioned it, silently having a very, very good series, by the way, really taking it sometimes 1v2 against both these DPS of Clap and Clockwise. Seal.
No! Seal, I think, backed up a little too far, thinking that Aquarius was going to chase after them instead when they were rezzing Clockwise, but ended up going for Clap instead. Doesn't matter, Clockwise gets sent back to spawn just as quickly. In with that, Jace, it's 2 minutes off of the clock. Sherbert looking to hold this very well, because there's not even a tick on the point for Polarity.
It isn't. Sherbert's composition here, once it gets the ultimates, potentially can stall Polarity though. Once they get the ults, then this comp will fall very hard. This is a really, really deep flank that comes in. Ball against their composition, yeah, even without a Brigitte, Gavin's going to find it really hard to displace people. Polarity now, they just need to calm down, they need to breathe, and they need to set up a pincer. If they get these DPS on both angles, once Gavin goes in, if he can generate a minefield, it can displace Sherbert. Once Sherbert are displaced, they are vulnerable. But it looks like they're just going to go all in with the Nano Barrage.
Oh, man, that was
worse?
really close to not working the way that they wanted it to. The double kill does come in, and Superb is able to get some follow-up there onto Schneepy and Repair. That's going to be what is needed to open up this objective and go ahead and get things set up. Beancan trying to hold on as much as they can, but they will get taken out as well as Aquarius. Deem the last one to touch the objective. They'll get it down to a minute, but that's going to be a 3.5 minute hold with not a lot of room to work.
I really thought it was not going to work like a blind man's Christmas turkey. They just went in raw, they went in dry, they went in unprepared, and it just wasn't very clean at all, was it, from Polarity, but they just brute forced it with those ultimates. The Nano Barrage ended up finding such value that Sherbert didn't have any tanks to really touch the point. From there, they scrambled, they lost Sigma ultimate. Now they have to go over to the Diva to cover. That's going to be a Bastion plus Echo combo to potentially fall clockwise, so maybe they've stalled here. Or the bomb.
Ooh, Superb taking the short walk off the long pier right there, as always. When the self-destruct goes off, the Ant Matrix does get utilized there from Dark Phantom to try to create some additional space, and now the res comes in, allows tank mode to be unleashed. Repair is able to get the trade off of the pulse bomb. Is able to clean up some of the minefield as well, and is going to continue to hold on to this point, but their spawn is right there. They have to be so careful right now, but Repair is just letting absolutely loose, but gets melted down quickly by Clockwise there on the flank, but the damage is already done. Sherbert are back onto this objective, and they are ready to hold once again.
Yeah, the President is down, which means that Repair can't set up on this Bastion. It's providing such a thorn in the side for Polarity. It's such a menace for them. Repair really, really popping off on this Bastion, actually. They nano the hard. That's a one-shot onto Schnippy. Okay, Gavin.
Schneepy just deleted right there. The follow-up there on to Deem as well. And with the Repair here on the point, there's only so much that a lone Bastion can do. The self-destruct goes off. This is the final curtain right now for Sherbert. They are melting as we speak, but somehow, some way, Aquarius and Beancan are still holding on to this point. Dark Phantom finally gets taken off, but
Aquarius
Team back in on the Wrecking Ball, able to find some value, and now we see Clockwise with the self-destruct, sends it a little bit too high, but still finds Schneepy though. The cleanup is coming in fast and fierce. The self-destruct, or sorry, the tank mode rather, finds Superb before they're able to get remech'd. And there it is, Aquarius back on the objective, able to get the recall in, but gets immediately taken down by Alter. Once again, the whole hog from Gavin shoots Dark Phantom right back up into the sky from whence they came, and this Speed Fest is just keeping this point contested. They're down to 50 seconds on the clock, and if there's somehow some way for Sherbert to flip, it is impossible as the point rolls over just barely, but it was so dang close. Polarity taking away the first match of the night against Sherbert 3-1 here on Eichenwald.
It was an impressive attempt, in particular from Aquarius and Repair. Gotta give a shout out to both those DPS. They really stepped up in these last two maps, but in the end, Polarity just, their hold was, their checkpoint, that golden box was just a little bit too easy. If it's even a bit closer, then maybe they can drop off the high ground and take a shorter route, but they had to run so far to touch that objective on Eichenwald. That's a point that the payload basically never ever stalls, because you just give it up, because it's just not a good place to hold. You take the high grounds. Fundamentals Overwatch 101, ladies and gentlemen, and nonetheless, Polarity wasn't comfortable. Those last two maps, very, very shaky. Those first two maps, complete night and day difference. So what do you make of that, you know, first two maps versus last two maps, Jimmy?
I mean, I'm glad it wasn't a clean sweep for Polarity.
Yeah.
It really feels like Sherbert, they used that break to kind of reassess their game plan, and they made it close at the end. They didn't go down without a fight, but let's talk about Polarity a little bit more, our winner team here. They look really, really good. I mean, we already talked a little bit about the DPS line. Is there anyone else you kind of want to point out here? For me personally, it would be Alter on flex support. Like his
Alter had
was
a great series.
exceptional here. Yeah.
I mean, Alter, I think the biggest thing was just the anti-nades that continued to come in. It was, I don't think I ever saw an anti-nade that was under 4 players the entire time that they were playing. Like, they were always perfectly timed. I mean, they were working in this bunkerish composition, so it was pretty easy. But to be able to kind of thread the needle like that multiple times over in between those shield drops is just, I mean, that's the kind of Ana you want on your comp team.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Big nades equals big win. So,
now that we've seen Polarity in action, would you say they're like a serious contender for our League championship in this Snowdown tournament?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they've definitely shown that they have what it takes to be able to do so, but without knowing much about the other teams that are going to be participating, if I remember seeing how everything was laid out before, this is the group that has the largest pool of teams to compete against. So could be a lot of talent. They're dispersed amongst the teams, and if I know anything about people when they get together with their friends, sometimes you get kind of that camaraderie level up. You got the skill to be able to take the 1v1s here and there, but when you got your friends by your side, you just take it to the next level. So there's only time will tell what will happen in this winter Snowdown in the following weeks.
Yeah, and I believe we have a few people. I see Alter Clap, Clockwise, Seal their captain, and Superb. I want to congratulate you all. Or is it just
Big dub?
Clap and Clockwise? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everyone, and congratulations on your win. So how's it feel to win your first match? And was your opponent playing the way that you expected going into this game?
Well, I'm so angry right now. Like, even if we win, if we won, like I did so bad. And yeah, I'm angry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It looked fine. You pulled out the Bastion.
Yeah, well, did you guys look at my spray?
well,
Yeah, we got to see the gold spray.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's open.
It's not black here.
okay, flexing the open tier on us.
Oh yeah.
Oh goodness. Well, we have to say that it was interesting seeing how you all were playing today. We gotta ask. The first 2 maps seemed very decisive, right? They were quick, they were clean. Polarity was riding high. We went to a short break, and whether it was kind of going to your head, you wanted to try some new compositions, thinking that it was the last map, this, that, or the other thing. Like, did you expect the comeback that Sherbert had going into Rialto?
We kind of threw.
We also kind of went for jump shatters and
Yeah, I saw the 360
flank shatters. Yeah.
It got a little bit too inspirational, and Clockwise definitely taking a big whiff of the Genji copium. Just a question to Clockwise in general. What is it? I don't want to go full on the narrative arc. Obviously, I was painting that in the broadcast anyway. What do you think about the state of some of the flex DPS at the moment? Because we basically saw you exclusively on Echo and then on the Genji incident today, where you were either like completely farming or completely feeding. So what's your take on your role at the moment, and anything else in general about DPS?
It feels really good to actually play my role and not be stuck on Torb like Cowbunga was. And it's good that I kind of popped off today, and I'm returning from when I threw in finals or semifinals. So yeah, just feels good.
Yeah, speaking of Cowabunga, maybe as my last question here, to kind of maybe establish some storylines here. I know, of course, you, Clockwise and Clap, and Gavin and CCU, you all returned from an A-League team, Cowabunga, who finished 4th last season. So kind of just as a question, like, how did this team come to be? Like, was it just like, hey, we had so much fun together, let's try it again? And where do like Alter and Superb come from? Because they were both on Galaxy.
Well, I think you're gonna have to ask Seal CEO for that information, because he pretty much just asked me if I wanted to be on the team. I was like, okay, and
One night I got a message from him asking if I wanted to try out, and then I joined the server, and Superb was in there, and I'm like, oh, looks like it's a reunion.
So it was a very Avengers-style grouping. You had your own individual messaging plucked out of your own little bubbles and put back together again. I see.
Except for unlike Galaxy, where I was on DPS, I'm now on Flex Support.
Nice. I mean, you were popping off. That was something that we were noticing a lot here in the booth. Those massive anti-nades were just coming in clutch over and over again. Tell us a little bit about as a support player, how it feels to be able to kind of, because at times that's kind of like threading the needle to be able to get such massive value off of your support plays.
I honestly don't know. I just kind of do as I do. If I see an opening, I take it.
All about the rhythm and the rhyme. I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, I'm definitely very excited to see you play Ana again, or just in general Flex Support, because you looked like as Captain Jack said, it's definitely very impressive. I want to say thank you very much to you guys from Polarity. Congrats on the win. Definitely can go into the new year with a good feeling that you're already #1 in our standings. So yeah, thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, with that out of the way, I want to say thank you very much, Jace and Captain Jack, for casting this match. It was very, very fun.
Pleasure.
We still have one more match left to go, which is going to be our first S-League match, and what a banger that's going to be. I think, Jace, you can attest to that. It's going to be Windmeal versus, what was it?
Hooking Fooligans.
I'm just expecting there's going to be one time in this tournament where a caster is going to slip up. I just know it's going to
That's
happen.
the whole point.
It's not going to be me. I can make that promise now. But yeah, because of the scheduling of how it works, we're actually going to take the stream offline for a little bit, because this game is going to start on the dot at 10 p.m. Eastern. So in about 35 minutes. If you guys want to stick around, we're going to be back during that. I think MFG is going to host that game. So you're going to stick around for that. That's going to be a content match for sure. Maybe some trash talking, maybe some funny interviews after the game's over. I'm very excited for that. I'm going to watch that. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in for this first match here of the BPL Winter Snowdown. We're going to be back at 10 p.m.